In today's video, I'm going to be starting a new page in the stitch journal. It doesn't look like I've done much, but it's all preparation for a page that's going to be about an old-fashioned technique called Trapunto. Also, I've got a pattern that I've actually drawn out, and now that I've found out how to list that in the shop, it'll be listed as a free download, and so if you want to follow my own pattern, you can do so. But if you want to make your own pattern up, that's absolutely perfect as well. So I'm going to just say, welcome to Marion's world. I'm Marion, and I'm going to cut you straight in to show you how I'm going to prep this page so that we've got some starting embroidery and all set up for next week. Well, after all the frothiness and the frivolousness of the previous page, I'm onto a new page, and I've drawn out a design. I'm listing that in the shop as a free download. So what else are you going to need? You're probably going to need a hoop. You're going to need your embroidery threads. Mine are here. What you'll also need is a piece of cloth that we're going to use as a backing, and I'm using something quite fine. It's not sheet. I don't know where this came from, but if I put it down you can see how thin it is. So something soft and fine and easy for your needle to get through. So not some high thread count Egyptian cotton sheet or something like that. Something thin. And it'll get cut back afterwards, but probably easier to work with something that's slightly larger than your page and then can be cut back afterwards. So what we're going to do, well, I'm going to take you back to do some quite traditional embroidery. Going to be a couple of techniques and a couple of new stitches within this page. I've drawn it onto my page already, and if it looks a bit haphazard, it's because I've drawn this one freehand, and I've already had to water my things out and put it back on again. So, and my fabric's still wet. So I've changed it a little bit already. I had these little leafy bits here, and I've already changed it, but I've got this on the computer already, so if you want to change anything on there, you feel free to do so. But I'm going to show you how to transfer that onto your page, and then after that you can change what you like. So once you've got your pattern, you need to be able to get that design onto your piece of fabric to make the pattern for the journal page. The easiest way is to tape it up to a window. Some people have light boxes. If you've got a light box, then that's fine, you can just use your light box. Now I'm going to put my pattern on the window and just masking tape it on. And then I'm going to get my piece of cloth. Now if you don't have a hoop, you can just put your cloth over the top and masking tape the cloth on, and you can see there, I can see the pattern straight away. So the other way is to use your hoop. You can put your cloth in the hoop, but put it face side downwards. So this is not the front of the fabric, this is the back of the fabric. Because once it's in the hoop, you can turn it over. You've got the face of your fabric facing you, but when you hold it up to the window, the cloth is going to be pressed to the window, and it's going to make it easier for you to hold the cloth like that and then draw through. I'm just going to hold like that. It means I can hold from the bottom, and I'll use my disappearing pen. And the reason I'm not doing it on my actual stitch journal is because I've already done it, because I just hand drew a lot of it, and I didn't have to transfer the pattern. But this is how you do it. And so now I can just go around. Of course you can always draw your own pattern out, you don't have to rely on mine. But the most useful ones are the lines that are going to go here. And instead of trying to get the line in one go, because you'll find that you might drag your fabric, if you can see, I'm doing lots of small lines. and then the fabric won't be dragged, and every time you take the pen off the fabric, your fabric will reset and stay still. So you can do as much of the pattern as you like. Just doing a bit freehand there, just put in the markings that you need. Or maybe you want to put the leaves in. But when you take it off the window, you'll be able to see your pattern nice and clearly. And then you can take it out of your hoop and turn it round and either stitch in the hand or stitch in the hoop. Whichever makes you comfortable, that's the way to do it. And I'm going to get started with some embroidery. So I'm going to be showing you is some very traditional hand-stitched trapunto. Now trapunto is a very, very ancient form of quilting. I think it dates back to sort of the late 14th century, and the oldest piece of that type of quilting is actually in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. So it's very old, and it's a way of making parts of your stitching raised up, and it would catch the light and make shadows, and it's really nice to do. It's a proper old-fashioned technique, and I think I've made the design really easy. It should be nice stitching and a nice effect. And the little pansy in the middle here, that's going to be some silk shading or thread painting or whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to show you how you can work your own design out rather than just stitch over somebody else's printed thing. So that's the whole idea with the page. So it's going to look a lot quieter than that one, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's all learning, and this is I think you'll really enjoy doing this. So I'm going to actually start off now with, I think I'll hoop up because it's easier for me to show you, but before we get to do any of the quilting, we need to embroider some of this, because if it's going to be affected by the quilting, it needs to be embroidered first. I'm going to start off embroidering my leaves, and I've just got 2 strands of a mid-green that I've got out of my tangle. That's how it's just quite a small piece, and I've got another piece of pearl cotton there. It's not going to bother me if I use lots of different colours. I'm just going to use my threads up as I can. And the important thing at the moment is to embroider the leaves however you want, and the stems on this bit here, but not to actually stitch the outline, because the outline has to be done separately. So I think I am going to do some very loose sort of leaf stitch. So I'm just going to go down. I'm going to let the stitches be a little bit apart, because this is the whole point of the trapunto, is it's going to be the star of the show in a way, that and the pansy. And so the other things just need to be a little bit simpler. So I'm not going to satin stitch these in or anything like that. I'm just taking leaf stitch in here and going down onto the middle vein of the leaf, but I'm letting the fabric show through on every stitch. I don't want anything too heavy. I'm going to come back up and I'm going to carry on with a bit of stem stitch down the stem. And I'm going to make my stitches quite small, because as I said, this is sort of doing a bit of finer embroidery here, getting used to less strands in your needle and just doing some small pretty work. So I'm taking stitches that are maybe about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm pushing up on the bottom of my hoop so that I can do it in one gesture, just so it's easier on the camera. Got my thread caught, that's that one. But you can do this in your hand, it's not going to make any bother. It's just sometimes it's easier to show on the camera if the cloth's held nice and flat. So I'm going to take that stem stitch down because I'm running out of thread. I'll just carry on with my stem stitch as far as I can get. I think that's it. I'm going to finish off, and I'm going to finish underneath as neatly as possible because I don't want the possibility of anything to be showing through eventually, and so I weave that stitch. In fact, I'll turn my hoop round and show you. I'm going to weave that stitch back through where I've come from, so I'm not going to leave any tails anywhere. I don't think it'll show through my cloth because this is quite a thick linen tablecloth, but I don't even want the chance of it doing that, so I'm going to just weave through and cut my tail like that. So now I can put my next piece of thread in. I'm just looking here, there's a good piece there. That's only small, but it'll do. There's another bit. And that's another 2 strands, so I'm going to work with it. And I think I'll do all the leaves in this little group in the same way. I might change on the other groups, but at the moment I'm just going to go down to the vein, back up to the outside edge, down to the vein, leaving a little gap, up to the outside edge, and I'll work my way down to make the little leaf. Now you definitely could satin stitch these in, you could do them with chain stitch, you could even just paint them with some acrylic paints or some Inktense. In fact, I might have actually done that myself, but I'm embroidering them now. I'm going to go down and finish that stem because I think this is actually the same colour, believe it or not. And I don't know why I turned my little scrolls into balls, but there you go. I'm going to have to deal with it. I'll do something else. I've just drawn them on with my disappearing pen, so it'll be fine. So I'll take my stem into the middle and start the next piece coming. I haven't got my hoop tight enough. There we go. And actually I'm going to finish that off. I'm going to finish it off on the top in there because I know I'm going to put something else over the top. So I'll just do a couple of little stitches. I think I've actually found the same thread and that's all I've got left of it, so I'll just take that off and that'll be another cardboard I can wind something else on, and I'll just use this up until I've got none left. So there's actually, yeah, there's 6 strands on here, so I'll just strip it to 2, get my 2 separated and back together and carry on back to this leaf. Remember coming up on alternate sides and down on the leaf vein in the middle. One side and then the other side. And keep your lines visible because you're going to need them probably next week. Because I don't think I'll get onto it this week. There'll be enough to do just doing this. Okay, I think that looks pretty, and I'll finish that thread off. Sometimes I actually finish off on the top. That's probably frowned on, but I don't care. Right, saves me keep turning my hoop for one thing. I'll just start this little bit of stem stitch and I'll do this little piece here that I don't know why I did circles, but we'll see. Tiny bit of neat stem stitch. I'll just use this thread up going along here. Could just as easily back stitch this, or you could split stitch it. And I've got all the way there. That's brilliant. I'll finish off. And I think I'm actually going to turn these into sort of little blue flowers, because I'm going to be doing, my pansy is going to be yellow and purple, like a wild pansy, like yeah, like a wild, like a heartsease. So I think I'm happy to turn these into like a pale blue. So you may want to get your image of your pansy, just look for a photograph or online to get the colours, but mine's definitely going to be yellow and purple. You could have, I mean, pansies come in every colour imaginable. I nearly was going to do a pink one, but actually I really do like the wild ones. So anyway, I'm going to come up here, and am I going to do one flower or a cluster? I think I'm going to do one flower. So I've changed what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do a detached chain or a lazy daisy, and I'll hook it down, come back up in the middle. Oops, I've gone round my there. And I'm going to put 5 petals on here. I nearly put hearts in the middle of here. There's all sorts, but I think for me I definitely want I want a little flower. So I've changed from the little, I think on my pattern I was actually going to have scrolls and 2 extra leaves, but when I was drawing it out I changed my mind. The thing is, I've already got that PDF done and I can't be bothered to do another one. So if you want to change it, change it, and if you want to go with it, just go with it. So mine's changing to a little 5-petaled flower. I'm going to leave an open centre so I can put a middle in. And then at the end, when I use the water to take the pen off, it'll all disappear. Maybe I'm going to get 6 petals on there actually. Do whatever pleases you, that you think looks nice on your page. I'm pleased with that one, and I think I don't need to, I think I need to put anything else there. If I do, I'll do it later. I think I'm happy with a little petaled flower like that. I know some people don't like to use a hoop, but actually I like both ways. I like stitching with my fabric in my hand, but equally there's something lovely about having the stretched out fabric in your hoop, and it keeping all your stitches and everything beautiful. You're not really going for the same effect as if you were having a slow stitch, where you might want the crinkled up things. You don't want that when you're doing a bit more of a traditional embroidery. Now, I just think I'd point that out. If I was doing something else, I could have stranded from here where I finished over to the point of here. But I'm particularly not wanting any of my dark colour to show, and so I'm really not going to strand across, but there's a chance that that dark thread might be seen from what else is going to happen, and so definitely weave your way down, weave through. If I didn't have that stem stitch already in, I'd have taken tiny running stitches, or I could have done the piece of stem stitch and done it that way. Either way, work your way across in the pattern instead of skipping from one part to another. So that's another leaf. So that's all of those leaves done. They have their outline to go, but not yet. And I'll finish that off, and I'm just going to finish the middle of the daisy. I'm going to weave my thread here. Finish the daisy with something. I'm going to come up in the middle and just do a French knot. Or actually, I should just do a colonial knot, considering I was just showing everyone how to do them. So make a loop, go in from the figure of 8 and down, and pull through. Look at that, beautiful. So I'm going to do the other 3 corners. I've finished my corner embroideries, and I've just used some water on the end of my brush, just clean water, to just drip it on and get rid of the blue lines. But I'm not getting rid of them around the leaves. I'm leaving them on there for next week. And so I know this has not been a huge amount to start, but there's too much for the next stage to put it onto this video. So in order to prep for next week, all you have to do is get your fine piece of fabric, smooth it out behind your page, and baste them together. Now, to baste them together, this basting is going to come out, so it doesn't have to be fine or anything like that. I've just got white sewing cotton in my needle, and I've just got the knot on the top, and I'm actually doing it on the sort of the horizontals, the verticals, and both the diagonals. And I'm just going to make sure that my fabrics are both together and nice and smooth, and I'm just going to take a basting stitch. I'm going to miss out. If I come to any embroidery, I'm just going to go sideways and miss out, and I don't want to put my stitch through this double line either, so I'm going to miss that out entirely, and I'm going to come right down off my page here like that, and then just do one little back stitch over and cut off with a bit of a tail, and that'll be easy to pull out when it needs to come out. And that is it, because next week we'll be doing the frame, and that is a bit more tricky work. Well, it's not tricky, that's just going to be a bit more of stitching. So I think after all of the stitching that happened on the last page, on the last week, I'm giving you a week off, and then all you need to do is get this little bit of corner work done and baste your pieces together. And you can see how quickly I'm doing that, but it's going to help. And you don't have to fasten off very much at all. You just have to get the 2 pieces together. And know that when they're done, they're going to be nice and smooth like that. You can see the basting stitches there, hopefully. And make sure that you keep your lines on the leaves, and do whatever little pretty bit you want to in here. I think the little blue flowers are going to look really pretty. There might be some French knots or something coming through here, but I don't have to do them yet. It's more getting the whole thing together, and so an easy, simple start for this page, and it's going to look beautiful when it's done. Enjoy your stitching, I hope. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I'm prepping the page for the next nice technique to do. And so to just get it to that stage is going to be really helpful. I thought there was no point in actually starting any of the quilting till another new session. But by the time you finish this week's stitching, you should be able to have your little corner pieces done and the fine fabric basted onto the back in preparation for starting the Trapunto next week. Now, I do know that Catherine on K3N did something with Trapunto a few weeks ago, but I don't think she did it the same as what I'm doing. So this is a very traditional way of doing it, and it's a hand quilting way of doing it, which is what it would have been originally. And I think a lot of people do it by machine now, but we're going to do it the real way. And to do that as well, you're going to need another supply that I forgot to tell you about at the beginning, and that is some yarn. Now, traditionally it would be something like this, a sort of a roving. I just happen to have this. I can't remember what I bought it for. That's about the thickness. That's the maximum you would want. And I'd forgotten I had that. What I was going to use was just some ordinary knitting yarn. So that's actually 4-ply, and I'd have been using maybe 4 strands to equivalent something like that. But you could use some, maybe a bit of chunky or whatever you've got. But I think the important thing is that if you're stitching on a cream or a white fabric like I am, your yarn is going to have to be that sort of a colour. You need white yarn or cream yarn, something like that. You don't need a huge amount of it. It doesn't have to be very much at all, but something along the lines of anything like that. So double knitting, 4-ply, chunky, or something like that is going to be necessary for next week when we do the actual Trapunto quilting. So before I say bye, just want to remind you that the poll for my projects will have closed today, but obviously I'm filming this before, so I still don't know exactly which one has won, but it sort of looks like one is a runaway winner. Never mind, the poll actually does close on Wednesday, so hopefully on Sunday's video I'll actually be starting the winning project or carrying on with the winning project, so that's going to be exciting. But at the same time, while on Sunday I'll actually be at Wool Show, so I'm going to North East Wool Show. It's happening at Gosforth Racecourse at Newcastle, and I'll be there on Sunday. So if anybody else is around and they're going there and they see me, by all means say hello. I'll be happy to see you. I don't even know what I'm going to get there. I don't actually have any wool to buy. I've got three wool projects that I haven't even started, and that doesn't even include the Marie Wallen cardigan or the bohus jumper that's in one of the projects. So I don't need any wool, but I did ask permission if I could film it for you, and I was told I could, so I'll be taking my camera along, and I'm looking forward to spending the day at Gosforth to see what's there. I was there last year and really enjoyed it. It's not very spacious, so I'm not sure how the filming will go, but I will try my best. I'll try and get some little interviews if people are happy to be on the camera, because I think you quite like that when I'm asking people questions, because I try and ask the things that I think you'll want to know. So that's where I'll be, but I'll be leaving a video. I'll be leaving a video for you that is probably the carrying on of whatever project has won. So I hope you look forward to that, and with that I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Please watch another video. I mean, there's quite a lot there now. I've been going for a whole year, and so there are playlists for all sorts of things, not just the stitch journal, but I can't even list them, there's so many. So send me the the thumbs up thing and the subscribe if you haven't already, because it's full of interesting stuff, and just watch another video. That would be great. And I'll see you next time when you come to visit me in my little room at Marion's World, or possibly crafting in the garden. You just never know. That's if the sunshine carries on, which it is today. Bye everyone. Thanks for watching.